The Killer Critic, man, that's huge in this work because it strikes at the heart around legitimacy. And we're all sitting in the room going, I'm not good enough, I'm not legitimate enough to do this. We're all sitting there hoping that we don't get found out. We got skills and experience and degrees and things that we've written and things that we've spoken at, and we're all sitting there going, yeah, this is great. And we're like, I hope no one finds out. I don't know what I'm doing here, and I don't know how to do this work. Because we realise that you reach the edge of your capability, and you've got to trust that you can take the next steps, and others are in the room taking the next steps with you. But the Killer Critic can really speak to the legitimacy of your authority to be in the room and to do the work. And so I found it often, with my sense of, do I represent enough of the diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community? Have I experienced enough of the cultural dynamics for me to represent that? Have I studied enough Western ways of thinking to be able to use the language, the discourse that's necessary? I don't know. And so I found myself doing that constantly.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to the self-questioning and the self-doubt. I think I got into some very old patterns of criticising myself in this work that came out of the depths. So, I have to be always working on this. It's something that cuts me down at the knees. And I can criticise myself till the cows come home, but then I have a question, well, what good is that going to do? And is that going to benefit anybody really? Like, I think my critic is now a little more trained. So the Killer Critic used to just wipe me out. I can't do it. I'm too whatever, probably too precious. But, oh, there she is. So I've had to train that critic to give me data that's useful. Because if it's just going to annihilate me, well, what's the point? I'm going to become immobilised. And, the white guilt trip is the classic. We can all excuse ourselves. I'm out of here. Doesn't belong to me. I wasn't there. I'm not the one. I couldn't possibly be a racist. That whole thing, you go, well, I know I am. I know I was raised in racism. I know I'm, So that whole debate that just immobilises has to be trained to go, okay, so there's some data there. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be skilled enough. I'm going to make mistakes. That's just what's going to happen. And to live with that. So putting things in perspective, getting in touch with nature is a way that I neutralise my critic a bit.
We also found in the work that when we almost confessed that sense of the critic that was in us, it became such a relief to realise that we were sharing the table with people who were like, I was feeling that too. I felt like I wasn't, the right person for this work. I felt like someone else was going to come in who was better than me, who could do this work. And then, so it was good to have that, I guess, shared sense of vulnerability and exposure around the critic.
Yeah, and the preparedness at the end of the day to hold our authority and to recognise that we each have power, we each have gifts and talents to share. And I think that's a way forward because, just wanting to drop out or, I think all the stuff I said before, it can be so active in this work, you've got to get help sometimes, hey buddy, was that really ridiculous that I made a fool of myself in public, and get some feedback. And
we say yes, but that's okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to die from it, am I?
Yeah, and that was part of it as well. We would be able to present that. Was I foolish in that moment? And to have the courage to say, well, yeah, I can see how you would have felt that way. It did feel clunky. And then again, no one runs out of the room and says, I'm never going to work with these people again. It was just like, okay, that's really strong feedback. How do we what are we trying to address here? Well, there's an expectation that, you know, Indigenous people have to be super knowledgeable about everything, and you know, non-Indigenous people are supposed to know that as well, but know when to speak, when not to speak, and so many things we're supposed to know, and none of us knew. Well, we knew a little bit, yeah.
The essence of the critic for me is a self-improvement tonic. If you get the data, if you get the juice, you can go, yeah, I could sharpen that.